Sometimes it's tough to think of things to say about a game because it is so impossibly classic. But with The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, it is hard to think of things to say because this game is an absolute classic. But the discussion has an extra layer of complexity because this game has always carried this undeserved legacy of being somewhat of an underdog entry in the Zelda series, always living in the shadow of its older brother Ocarina of Time. Many feel as though Majora's Mask has to fight for every inch of recognition it gets, with it almost being perceived as some kind of hot take if you prefer Majora over its predecessor. But I submit to the court that Majora's Mask is perfectly well regarded in the modern era and given all of its due credit. And as evidence for this, I now present to you everything I love about The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, all of which are points you have heard before, likely numerous times, as they have been exhaustively and deservedly talked about. Tone! Majora's Mask is creepy and off-putting in an almost horror-esque way. I mean, we're used to seeing NPCs in games despair at the world-ending stakes the game is throwing at you, but the characters in Majora's Mask approach it with a level of nihilism, remorse, and sometimes insanity that it almost feels like too real. Death penetrates every moment of this game, and each triumph feels small when you inevitably fail to prevent the moon from crashing into the world and are forced to reverse time again and again and again. These are odd compliments to be paying to a Nintendo game, which is exactly what makes Majora's Mask so special. Now, for compliments that are completely typical to give a Nintendo game, the power-ups you get in the form of masks are so fun. I wish you could turn into these creatures in every Zelda game. Rolling around as a Goron is one of the most fun things I've done in this series, and swimming as a Zora, or soaring and spinning as a Deku Scrub, bring intuitive convenience to your world travel that I miss when it isn't there. The condensed nature of the overworld may make things feel smaller, but in return you get a sense of intimacy with this world that can't be found in other Zeldas. Environments feel dense and important and contextualized. Each gameplay moment feels like it has something of great value to offer you beyond the vague sense of experiencing exploration-based adventure. And it's all capped off with not just one of Zelda's most memorable antagonists, but one of gaming's all-time great antagonists. Although, yeah, it wasn't even Majora that scared me out of playing this game as a kid. It was the dang Happy Mask Salesman. I didn't get further than like 30 minutes into this game when I was a kid, in large part because of that guy. Have I said a single thing in this segment that you hadn't heard before? That is a genuine question, because I don't feel like any of these were particularly original thoughts, which is a good thing. It's frustrating when a great game flies under the mainstream radar. Majora deserves every inch of celebration that it's gotten, and I don't think that acclaim is gonna fade away anytime soon.